already been chosen. Where will we be going? Volskaya Foundry, Leftovers. They take their loss and immediately say, let's go. Volskaya Foundry. They pick up the battleground that we've seen them choose often in the past. First pick will be going over to Granit Gaming.
Granit Gaming has 4 maps played here, 1 and 3, and Leftovers is 2 and 3 on the map. Leftovers have chosen the map a lot, actually. 5 times. This is the 6th time that they're playing the map here, so they are always playing for a second ban, second pick position. Whereas for Granit Gaming, it's a similar situation. Most of the time they are not first pick here. This is one of those exceptions that we see for them. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, first map was definitely strong from Granit Gaming, no doubt about it. And it just echoes the development that they showed over the past few weeks. But this is now a bit of a different beast of a map and a lot more team fighting in 5 versus 5 setups over objectives. So I'm curious to see if they can show the same level of execution and the same level of coordination that we've seen on Dragonshire on this map now with the changed objective.
No, this is also a battleground too, where if they can get to Maiev, they do pick it up. So I want to know how that rotation is going to be affecting them here.
But that's the question. Do they?
Yeah.
Do they play it without Blake Kidney? Who's taking over that role?
That's my question too. Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like when Volskaya Foundry come here, they find open spaces to force fights. Maiev has a lot of free time on this battleground to be able to pick and choose when she comes in for the flank or comes in for the engage. So she is a strong pick here. But will Leftovers be missing something because they can't pick it up?
Exactly, and also another question, with Granit Gaming already banning Maiev out on Dragonshire, it could just simply them saying like, listen guys, you might not quite have that synergy without Blake Kidney here on the hero, but we're just going to ban it out anyways, because if you rotate anyone else into that spot and you can play it, then we're not going to take that risk. We're still going to try and shut down a composition that you've been successful with in the past.
Hanzo taken out, as well as Genji.
Do you go and ban out Tracer here, or is it another target ban against Urel? It's Malfurion. No more linked Twilight Dreams.
If you're Leftovers here, are you thinking about leaving Tassadar, Tracer open, and that way maybe you can move into them on your first, second pick?
What I found interesting on the first map, and I don't think it's going to happen here, is that they targeted stealth heroes this heavily because they know that Granit Gaming loves to play around Valera, Zeratul, even Simuro at times. But they go for Muradin ban. I can absolutely understand that, and I really think this is a great adjustment on their part. We highlighted on the past week, and we highlighted how strong Nanda is on Muradin. And after the last game, Leftovers appreciate his strength on the hero to an extent where they say, like, this guy is crazy, we need to ban Muradin out, or he is just going to wreck us again with him.
Sticking with what I know. Phoenix and Diablo for the Leftovers. Immediate combo, we talked about it in game number 1. I'm more curious to see what adjustment we're going to get from Nande when it comes to that main tank. Johanna's one that's fallen off for a lot for us here in HGC, but can work on this battleground. Also, Garrosh. Pretty darn strong if you're able to set up a blow-up comp against Diablo. And there it is. Garrosh and Chromie will be the pickup for Granit Gaming.
This obsession with Chromie on the end is so fascinating to me.
Are they 2017 Trixler? What is this? What's going on, man?
Like, I don't even mind them picking Chromie. It's just the frequency that's surprising me and the priority here. This is a good Chromie map. I mean, again, don't get me wrong. They just got to win with Chromie.
Yeah.
But I would say that it was still pretty tough for them. There's good arguments for it, but they are a little bit too much in the Chromie basket for my liking.
I will say that for the Leftovers, with them losing Black Kidney and their ability to force these engages that they normally have, now a lot of the pressure gets put on Mopsio, that main tank front row. And if you have that slowing sands, as a warrior player, it is very difficult to get the engages that you want with your team being able to follow up. So that might be a strategy here for Granit Gaming, to play around the slowing sands and try to stop that tank from getting the engage they want.
Yeah. There's definitely good arguments for her to be in the draft, and on Volskaya more so than on most other maps, I would argue, at least maps that we see frequently, since Praxis is, for example, something you just don't see in Europe, seen at once. But here comes now Urel and Jaina, so very likely that we're going to see DAB this time on Phoenix, and then Jaina played by Sonicless up. I like the draft of Leftovers quite a bit here. I think the ban against Muradin was fantastic on their end, taking Greymane away, picking Urel for themselves here. And I'm not a fan of the early Chromie, but I'm happy to be proven wrong here.
We get another Greymane here for Granit Gaming.
Probably not because he's banned.
Yep, you're right. Good point there, Calidor. Leoric and Hammer coming out for that 4th and 5th pickup.
All right, Leo and Hammer.
They want
How much time I get? It's again, we saw that approach in the past actually, where it's just all about controlling the space and thinking, okay, we control the entire area and we keep you at a distance. It's very difficult also to push back into Garrosh here in this case. You can always throw them out. Stukov comes in now. We just saw Stukov yesterday being played, and that was in the hands of Method. It was actually the map that they won.
Stukov also pretty decent if you don't have to deal with full hard-on engages coming your way. Able to sustain heal you through, so if you have poke coming towards your direction, and if you do take a little bit too much from Chromie and Sergeant Hammer, you can back up, sustain heal, and then come back into the engage. So Stukov makes a lot of sense here. Also provides that slow if you do need it for Phoenix as well, so just kind of fits naturally in the draft.
Yeah. Urel is going to become a bit of a game changer though once she can jump in. So, I mean, we have tools against that for sure. It's an interesting one. After the last one, I'm pretty hyped. We see again Chromie being played. The Murden Deny is something that I really appreciate a lot on the side of Leftovers. But having Hammer and Chromie here, tons of poke, good zone control with Garrosh as well. Also Deck Arcane, obviously. Very similar here. But good burst damage from Leftovers here, especially when Sonic at any point is able to move in, get that ring, make sure that he gets the Blizzard follow-up in the cone. Especially underneath Stukov, if they can play around that lurking arm, there's a lot of potential for really nice setups where they can get easy kills.
I think I really enjoy the late game here for Leftovers with the Tomb setups, Sergeant Hammer with BFG. I don't know, let's check it out here as we head straight into, well, Sky Foundry, Granit Gaming versus Leftovers on the left. Darkmod playing Leoric, Memecraft on Hammer, Wolf Joe on Deckard, Nande on Garrosh, and Raid Boss on Chromie.
And over to the right side of the map, the Leftovers with a Linked on Stukov playing the Admiral. Sonic Lusub on Jaina as expected. We see Polyboss on Urel running the off lane. Mopsio again on Diablo on the main tank. And now Phoenix played by DAB as the main DPS on the side of Leftovers switched over to Phoenix from Tracer that he played in the last game. Interesting talent already taking a level 1 for Leoric. Obviously expecting a lot more on that solo lane here. Going straight into the fealty onto death. So Consume Vitality for a long time was the standard talent to be taken in Europe as the level 1 talent, and then you moved into Neo Peasants. That has changed a bit since everyone on Leoric is these days going into Austin's Renewal, something that the Western scene adapted from Korea. But now we have fealty onto death taken here. So it's a lot more about fighting around minions. Talking about fighting! Mopsio attacked here. I was about to say he gets out, but then Nande connects with another quick stun here. I was expecting him to try and go for the flip, but with Leftovers rotating in, they can keep Diablo alive. But that was a close call, actually.
That it was. Almost picked off, and we had almost an answer from Jaina as well as she comes up and drops that cone on cold. If we had Diablo available to go in for an engage, could have seen a dead Chromie or even a tank there. Dark Mock, some pressure here in the middle, though. Trying to stay alive. Finally, those mans will get cleaned up, so we'll be able to get a little bit of healing thanks to that level 1 talent. But kind of interested what that level 1 talent's going to work out for. You already pointed out, but I'm trying to theorycraft what they were trying to do here. Are they just trying to hold on to the late game here? Just have him constantly double soaking, staying alive, and not getting in trouble?
It could definitely be the case. I mean, one of the things that you can always argue too is that if you are playing around the objective, then you always can push out the waves.
Yeah.
And with your Neo Peasants, it's pretty easy for you to clear the waves that are pushing in, so that helps them to get a quick boost in mana and also in hit points. So can work out for them with the objective here. But yeah, it's going to be curious to see how that's going to play out. Because Austin's Renewal is just the standard these days. And you can, of course, reduce that cooldown if you get also additional globes, which is an argument to be made for when the minion waves push in too, especially since you can get a double globe if you secure your own.
Yeah.
But first of all, it's the item control that really matters on the map. And that's why we have both of the teams already sharking around the Biotic Emitter to see if they can make something happen there.
Yeah, pretty typical, typical exchange that you see on this battleground, especially trying to figure out if your soul lanes are going to rotate up. That's when you can know if your opponent's going to actually fully commit to the idea of grabbing the support pulse. But that does not happen here. Granit Gaming actually setting up to grab their Merc Camp on the top left, a little bit on the earlier side as Sergeant Hammer heads over there. Leftovers will do the same on the right.
Yeah, also level 4, so Neo Peasants is in play. That makes it much easier for Leoric to clear out these waves. And they get the solo lane pushed here against Urel. Also seeing the Bronze Talons coming in. It's just zone control that we really have in spades for Granit Gaming. You have the range damage on Chromie's side and the continuous burst, and then you of course have also Sergeant Hammer. So it's all about timing your engage properly if you're leftovers. You want to dive in deep with Diablo and with Urel, at the same time put down the lurking arm from Stukov and really coordinate that on one of the targets. So that's going to be what we're seeing here a lot, trying to make that one snap decision work. Whereas Nanda is going to attempt to protect the two of them.
Yep. Hold that front line. That becomes much more easier, especially with the level 4 talent coming online, Indomitable. If Leftovers decide they want to go for a hard engage, he can back up. And if he backs up just enough, he actually has an angle to toss someone to that top left turret. So Leftovers won't be doing too much here to force a fight, unless he oversteps. And he might be doing so right now as he gets silenced out. Combo comes out from Chromie, but lands on nobody, and Nande gets knocked into a turret and taken out.
Yeah, and that's exactly the problem right there, especially with Hammer not being in play. Phoenix, of course, was at the top lane too, so it was still a 4 versus 4 fight. But you can see the issue right there. You have displacement, you have the silence, and then Garrosh just becomes a punching ball.
It's definitely a punch there. I'm actually just curious as to why he went in so hard for that engage.
Yeah, I was also surprised to not see a Drain Hope from Darkmog. Like, he got the swipe in, but there was no follow-up to just pressure mobs even more. I mean, traditionally, when you're playing Leoric, normally what the idea is to get a skeleton swing in that slows the target, and that makes it easier for you to land your Drain Hope. And against a high hit point hero like Diablo, that usually chunks them down quite significantly. In the last engage, I can only assume that the Drain Hope was still on cooldown on the side of Darkmog, because he didn't do that after he connected and slowed mobs here there. But yeah, right now it's all about trying to claim that space again. And here comes again the combo, and the silence already out.
Mopsio gets hit by a couple turret shots. New York in the front line comes in for the body block. They're putting damage on Mopsio where they can. Potions continue to fly for Wolfjo to keep his teammates alive. A Drain Hope connects here. But the percentage on the point starts to climb. As Leftovers controls the area, they jump up to 96, and now Granit Gaming decide, do we want to fight for this?
Yeah. There's a turret versus a turret that we currently have. Wolfjo holds one, and on the other side it's Podibo, so it takes the control of it. But they're jumping in again. Turrets on the ground. Here comes again the lurking arm, and Darkmog is low, and he falls. The ghost is down, and that should be the end of this one. Protector very likely ending up in the hands of Leftovers as they are running the overtime, and that's the objective claimed now by the red team.
All said and done. Experience lead for the Leftovers.
Also, we don't have Hopelessness on level 7. Instead, we're seeing Drain Momentum taken.
This is a pretty solid talent if you're trying to stay near a target, as you don't get slowed anymore.
I actually think that's a pretty mediocre talent. That is a surprise. Oh, Sonic at the bot lane got also a bit surprised there.
Temporal loop.
Yeah, Temporal Loop and Jaina moving in. But yeah, Drain Momentum, I mean, it is all about the movement speed, right? You can stay closer to your target, and if you last the full duration, you gain extra movement speed for a few more seconds. The question is, if you are is this really the map where you need the movement speed? That's a question that I have right now. Because you are trying to target Diablo in the first place anyways, and he's usually the one attempting to hold the spot here. So I'm a bit surprised that we see that shift away from Hopelessness with the increased range. Darmok made a few choices here that seem to be very specific and more down his personal style of Diablo play. I'm actually wondering if we see even more severe adjustments coming in later. I would doubt it. Normally your 13 and 16 is pretty much locked in with Ominous Wraith and Royal Focus. But maybe he is speccing a little bit more into a Drain build to try and target Urel and Diablo, and that's one of the reasons why he wants to stay close enough and needs that movement speed.
I mean, that would be the assumption, right? Later on, you can get that Hardened Bones. You can also get the extra damage that you have against a tank if you're able to keep that Drain Hope on them, which can be helpful against a Diablo with that high health pool. It's just curious and a little bit different here from Leoric. We'll keep an eye on his build. Entomb is normal, though, for the level 10 that's coming online for him. Looking to set up those potential kills. Very similar to a Temporal Loop. Just a little bit harder to make sure you land that up.
Also, with the first Protector, Leftovers went for the normal rotation that you see. You go into the mid lane and you do a bit of damage there. But the main goal is to take down all your opponent's fountain towards the top, and that's what they achieved. So that prepares for the second objective of the game, since you always have the option to go back, tap your own fountain, and re-engage into the fight. I also want to quickly highlight Rapos here, who's doing a much better job now with the stacking process. He's currently sitting at 37 stacks, actually, on his Sandblast, so way more successful on this map, which is a little bit more Chromie friendly than what we've seen before on Dragonshire.
Much easier to land those sandblasts when you have a control point to kind of focus targets on with 5 possible hits. Leftovers making a play though. As they push this bottom lane, they open up this entire front wall. Realizing Sergeant Hammer is in the top lane, pushing in for a fort. They wanted to be able to get their own exchange of experience and also open up a wall.
Yeah. Lonado thrown out. So one of the reasons why you sometimes see an ult being thrown out like this is because players just simply say, listen, I need the ult ready for the objective, but I know the objective is spawning, let's say, in a minute or something. In this case, you have a very low cooldown to burn with Lonado, so you can just simply throw that out. And the idea was to see if maybe you can grab Mopsio with that and push him in. If that's the case and he gets slowed down by the fort, then you can maybe even get a kill here, or at least put free damage on. But if it doesn't work out, there's no downside. You will still have that ult up. So in this case, it's even more so because you have a very low cooldown heroic ability on Deckard Cain. But even with anything that is on a 90-second and 100-second cooldown, you can throw that out if you are completely sure that you will get it back in time for the objective to spawn.
Yeah, you have to be careful that you don't get invaded. If you do use a big heroic cooldown like that, where it become turrets and such, but they already have those under control at the bottom left. They also have really good control of bushes, right? You have the mines coming in from Sergeant Hammer and Chromie, so if they use those, they should be just fine. 13 is the next target for our teams, and Leftovers will be able to hit that first. As the control point will be up in about 10 seconds. Mafia is actually looking for a bit of a fight here with this 13.
Yeah, Leoric is currently taking the 13 at the bot lane for Granit Gaming. He's the one who needs to get that talent right now for them. And that's going to be a super important one for Leoric, more so than for anyone else, because he can go and make sure that Sonic is not getting that burst damage in. Same, of course, also true for Phoenix. Always assuming that he still goes into the Ominous Wraith.
I'm waiting. I want to find out. He does.
Yeah, we see him going for that, okay.
So the 1 and 3 talents, a little bit different here, but that's okay. We'll keep an eye on this, see if we get any value out of them.
Chromie, of course, also has the added advantage of always providing vision, which is exactly what we're seeing here. So double checking that nobody is trying to claim another healing beacon. Items are already plentiful on the side of Leftovers. And here comes the 5 versus 5 setup. Now the advantage from a positional perspective goes to Leftovers, but this is now the moment where Granit Gaming will attempt to get a kill. Pody Boss is already eating a ton of damage here. Ardent Defender is still up. The taunt is in. A bit of a mistiming there. There was a chance for a kill, but they kind of squid up slightly, but a very nice move against Sonic with an Entomb. Made out of dreams, but the counter kill against Hammer, and she's not the only one. Deckard Cain dies too. Pody Boss is still alive. Raid Boss falls, and they're going for an under. It started out well, but it ends with a 4-for-1 trade in favor of Leftovers. Granit Gaming with a bit of miscommunication here.
DAB able to step up too and get that massive salvo. The idea was to try and blow up Jaina and Stukov on that right side with the Entomb connecting there for Leoric, but they were unable to get that pulled off. As you mentioned, the taunt gets used on Urel in the top right. Let's go ahead and check out this fight here. So you see Pody Boss in the top right corner taking a lot of pressure, but Darkmok comes here from the side, and he finds an opportunity to get a big Entomb. He'll land it, but there's no immediate follow-up. They have the BFG. Imagine if a Dragon's Eye was available there. Both those targets would have been blown up, and you have DAB and Mopsio step up and clean up the back line.
Yeah, DAB in particular just did so much work there. And the moment of disconnect was really when they missed the kill against Urel, because Nanda goes in and says, boys, I got the taunt, starts it, and then Darkmok dying here again at the bot lane. So he starts the taunt, and there's no one to follow it up. That was an easy kill against Urel, because we saw Pody Boss trying to hold his Ardent Defender back for as long as he possibly could. But if there is any damage output, just as the taunt through Garrosh comes in, that is a dead Urel, and then they could have focused on the rest. But now they're just getting snowballed completely here. Leoric dying again, coming back in just a few seconds, but look at that advantage, 16 versus 14, and the Protector still up.
Temporal Loop comes out, combo will be on Linked. Ooh, but we actually miss out on that Sandblast. Linked only takes about half the damage, and the BFG doesn't connect either. Missing 2 big heroics. Granit Gaming will have to back up, as the Leftovers are lucky to survive there with Linked.
Yeah, Granit Gaming is currently in the dark spot here. Leftovers are definitely dominating the situation. 16, nearly 17 against 15, 2-level leader, about to be 7 kills versus 2. That fight at the top, a massive, massive jump in domination on the map for Leftovers, and they are just completely running with it now. Taking the items on the map, controlling everything, doing so well here. The silver lining for Granit Gaming, I would say, is that they're having 52 stacks on Chromie. That helps them a bit. If they can get their 16 talent now, they might be able to force a few fights, and maybe around the temporal loop that's up again in 15 seconds, they could get a kill here. But it's going to be a bit tough for them.
Do not forget about the Sansa level 20 as well coming in for Leoric. Will help out with the setup for killing a target, right?
That's even the thing, if they get there, yeah.
Yeah, a few more levels. They got 4 to get there. but you can put that on your Rel. Make sure she doesn't use that Ardent Defender. It can blow her up as well. So that will be something that we can consider, Granit Gaming, as we head to the late game. But for now, Leftovers continue to control space. And part of it, too, is because Granit Gaming hasn't quite hit those combos, but also because Jaina hits her power spikes 13 and 16. Another Leoric combo comes out, and BFG will pop. That's not fully connected as the way they would want to, but they are still finding kills. There's one, and there's two, and Granit Gaming, they answered back right away.
That's exactly what they needed to do here. They're going
Tornado.
for DAB, the Tornado, and there is no warp at triple kill. We just talked about it. 16 drops. They look for the fight, they find it, and they get the kills, and now they're back to business. And I also wanted to highlight that on level 16, we actually see for Sergeant Hammer now obviously Giant Killer coming in, and that is going to put intense pressure, not only on Urel, but more so on Diablo himself. Great fight against by Granit Gaming, the perfect answer to the dominant position that Leftovers was holding, and now of course they have to attempt to make the best out of it.
Start to work on this 4 here on the bottom. That's pretty nice there, especially when you're trying to catch up in experience, as they are a good full level behind their opponent. So there we go, 4 gets picked up. That'll be the experience. There's 2 more for them to work on too. One in the middle and one on the top side, but Leftovers are starting to spawn back. 8 seconds will have DAB back. So Granit Gaming can take the small window here and try and make a play for the support camp. And they're actually heading over there right now. Should have a time trap set up too. There we go. They have an anchor spot too, so they should be able to grab this.
Yeah, they have an anchor spot. They have Memecraft in a really good position right now. His Silver 16 talent is going to be important. And Nande is, of course, looking for Entombs right now together with Darkmog. So the two of them playing this out. Darkmog, on the other hand, is low. Needs to be careful. Great move here from Sergeant Hammer again, but still the damage comes out of Jaina and Leoric falls. The camp goes over to Leftovers, and that means that they hold on to a double healing pulse now, since the original one was still in the hands of Diablo himself.
That was a surprise Ardent Defender coming out from the Leftovers. Bodywest got tossed into a combo and just completely dropped the Ardent Defender. He was fine with that. And Granit Gaming was like, oh, wait a minute, you're using Ardent Defender now? Typically, you wait towards that half HP, quarter HP round to use Ardent Defender. You try to get the healing up and you back up. So Granit Gaming used all the burst on top of Urel and had to escape backwards. And Leftovers took that opportunity to strike.
The level 20 talent that is so close for Leftovers is the biggest concern for Granit Gaming now. They have at least Chromie's 20, her 18, so they see the Pierce, but it's all about can you force a fight and maybe get a kill before level 20 is ready for Leftovers. And the chances of that happening are just really slim.
Yeah.
Because Leftovers are too experienced to make a mistake and push into early here. They're going to grab the XP, they're going to wait for another wave. But actually, as I say that, Mobsio steps out a little bit too much. Here comes the immediate Entomb, but Darkno might have overstepped here. He is going down again.
Massive silence coming out from Link on the back line, making it hard for them to follow up that Entomb that came out. Wolf Joe now in trouble as he gets kited here. Potty Boss staying with him. DAB comes in for the slows, and they will get the kill. Leftovers able to grab 2 on the counter swing in the fight.
I'm really liking the Haka play that we see from Darkmog, but I have to admit that his Leoric does not convince me. He just goes in a bit too deep. He feels, it felt like it looked like he felt forced to go for it. He really felt the pressure and said, we need to force it, engage. And I like that he looks for the Entomb, but he went a bit too deep and there was no follow-up damage, and then he's exposed and he goes down. That's the 4th time that he dies. And granted, when you're Leoric, he's the hero that you're okay with falling first, because you're trading his life for counter damage. You're trying to look for a setup. If you can get a 1-for-1 trade, and on your own side it's Leoric that falls, it's always a win, because he's going to be coming back so much faster. But it's not working out for Granit Gaming right now, and it leads to Leftovers having a 20 advantage. They're going to grab this Protector. Like, no chance of Granit Gaming contesting it anymore. And then it becomes the question, how much can the Leftovers do with it? Can they only take the keep? Are they going to go for core? I'm going to find out, because there's still no 20 for Granit Gaming. They don't have the experience for the Storm Tower.
They have a half-a-level window to decide that. Leo starts a little bit in the middle. Maybe would have liked to see him grab one more wave of experience, get closer towards that 20, because I feel like this keep should be destroyed, especially with that sidewall being cleaned up.
I mean, it's really tricky, because in the end, you would really love to have the Buried Alive, the level 20 Entomb. Nice dodge here, Raid Boss. Gets thrown out. Nande with a save. And they're actually chunking down that. I mean, like, oh my god, they might not even get the keep here if that continues.
A full duration. Drain, Hope was able to come out. Leoric gets blown up, but Chromie is just sieging away. Stacks going up, sitting at 6 and 7 here. Leftovers stepping up and looking to force them to the fight here right after they kill up this keep, and they look like they're going to do so. All 5 here.
Yeah, the start was good, but now the keep has fallen and they're going for the core. The taunt is in. DAB with the damage, the shields are falling, but there's a lot to defend here. At the same time, the core is racing down and they do not have Leoric, so they can't mitigate the damage. Sonic Le Beast is in trouble. They're having the first kill here. Stukov is down, but the damage is still there, and it's enough to turn this around and cake the game. 1-4-1.
We are all tied up here. As the battle for the West Clash continues for the Leftovers. Game on number 2, they answer back, find their own kills, able to bait forward that Leoric a little bit in a couple of those engages, and with a kill on Leoric in the bottom left of the keep, they decided it was enough to go for the core. And it was. DAB untouched as he helps finish it up. And we got a game 3 on our hands, but we're all tied up.
We definitely do. And in terms of damage, we had a lot more from Chromie this time than we had in the previous game. But I'm coming back to Leoric here. I really want them to switch away from him. Again, granted, I've only seen Darkrock in that position now twice. But both times it stood out to me that he just feels too forced to make a play, goes a little bit too deep, and then dies. And I think if they put him, his Dehaka, for example, in the previous game was really strong. He had some very cool like flanks that he set up. His survivability was much better. I just think that on other heroes he excels more and he has more to offer. I think that his Leoric is currently not really providing what they want here. Because if he doesn't die, that makes the entire attempt to go for core so much more difficult, since with Ominous Wraith, you just go in, you reduce the damage on the damage dealers in the back, and then you might be able to hold that core. But with him gone, not only do you fight a 4 versus 5, but you also have that damage mitigation lacking on your end. So they did really well defending it first, but then him falling was just starting a cascade.
Too much trait value. We'll be right back here with game number 3, because we are all tied up at the HGC. We'll be right back.